All right, should be live as usual. Let me get things pulled up. Get all the windows arranged as they're supposed to be. Wow, the bot picked this up like immediately. I guess I'll go ahead and post it in the official Discord since it picked it up right away. Boom. What's up, Leighton Jameson? I don't know if I've seen you here before, man. Have you stopped by before? I think I have everything where it needs to be, so I can actually go ahead and start playing. Berserker, nice to see you, man. I was gonna help a friend take a tile, but he hasn't responded, and I really need to relocate, so maybe I can help him tomorrow or something. Excited to hear the replacement winner for the giveaway. Alright, how am I getting into Enten Wars? I need to figure that out real quick before I do anything else. And yeah, I do have to figure out one more person for the giveaway because the third winner, he's had multiple days to get in touch with me, and unfortunately he just hasn't. So I guess I actually just have range, which is perfect. Yeah, I mean, we have tiles over here. So I guess I'm just gonna farm a bit. Actually, I should probably drop all these 90s then. That way I can path to the 200s and whatnot. So let's make sure I actually have troops. Oh, and I gotta do my market. Do I have enough for Arwen? I do, technically, so I think I'll give her some dunes. Don't have many dunes, but I think she would make the best use of them. And I guess for now, Gandalf, the gray paths, he has full stamina. So we can go ahead and take this with whoever, I guess Theo, since he has the most stamina. And buildings are going. I need to conscript again, though. But first, we'll see if we can scam the market. Buy that. Don't want to trade ore for wood. I do want that. Again, ore for wood, ore for stone. Market is scamming me tonight, apparently. We can do stone for ore, though. For sure, we're doing that. And I guess we do wood for grain if I'm going to try to conscript all night long. And hey, we get the wood back anyway. And I can always see if I need to do that before I train all night. I'll probably do like 2-hour queues for now. Kind of want to start getting sharps recruited. But I don't have sharps at Elite 2 yet. So I might have to wait another couple days. I'm doing Dunes Elite 1 now. And that still has like 10 hours on it or something. I do have Bow Knights at Elite 2. So I think at least until like tomorrow I just stick with the cav. And of course, I don't have my 4th conscription slot yet. Alright. I'm actually pretty hyped that we have tiles all the way over here. I was worried that I was going to have to like ford up somewhere, you know, maybe over here and then come up to the crossing. We don't have this crossing yet. We do have tiles there, so it wouldn't be too bad to ford over there. Take the crossing. There's already 2 200s, 260, 200, 200. That's probably what I'll have to do. I should try to find ruins, though, rather than necessarily building forts. So let's see if there's ruins that aren't taken. If there are any over here, they're probably taken. Which ha is this just hanging out here? This is Finrod. How did he even get there? I guess maybe he came from that tile. Kind of funny just seeing a random Legolas standing there, though. I swear they've removed ruins as this game progresses. I mean, last season in Etten Moors, I had, although it was up here, I swear this used to be a ruin, but maybe it's always been a vanguard. But no way the ha-ha-has people. Apparently we're famous now. That's the word on the street. Yeah, dude, a ruins search feature would be, it would be wonderful. I'm not sure why there isn't one. I mean, like, I guess they want them to be kind of hidden. But at the same time, like, you can search mob camps. You can search effigies and shrines now. You know, so it's not like ruins are some super secret big deal. Actually, it would be cool if they had 2 levels of ruins. Maybe they should have a super secret, like, max level fort ruin that you can't search for. And then they should have another ruin that's only like 3 or 4 slots that you could search for. And I don't know how active these Angmar people are. Like, I don't know yet if I'm gonna need to just... They don't seem that active, though, if these people are just sitting on these 200s. I'll say I don't know if I need to actually just farm all the red tiles out. Or if we'll be alright not doing... oh, excuse me. Not doing that. But yeah, apparently today somebody in Discord complained about the ha-ha-has. And then there was a post made on the official Facebook group about it. The cult of ha-ha-ha. I don't know. We thought it was pretty funny. I mean, we're just joking around with it. I don't even think it's worth taking all these 300, or not these 300s, these 130s and 150s. I feel like I have plenty of 130s and 150s. Once Layla relocates, I should maybe get her like a 260 or 300 or something. It's my wife, by the way. We're gonna be neighbors, as usual, in this game. I don't really want to sweep that, but I also don't love the idea of taking a 90 with Theoden. But I guess I have to. And I don't know if Arwen can solo any 200 yet. I think most 200s she probably could. But I guess I'll just check the march time. And as long as I could send Gandalf the White in time, I think I'll try and let her solo. Maybe I just pop this with Gandalf the White and have him there in case. It's going to be 6 minutes. Let's say she hits the first army and draws. And then draws on the second army. There'd only be 10 minutes left. I think I could save the stamina, actually. I think it'd be alright. I feel like I need to turn the music up, though. If I can barely hear the music, you guys probably can't hear the music at all. I would imagine. But I think it's about to pop off in our season. Jeez, Charlie has... How many T4s does he already have if he's throwing them on 300s? Surprised his aren't fully upgraded, actually. His dunes are solid. I'm surprised he leveled this before dispersion as well. I need to figure out what I'm doing with my gold, though. That's for sure. Because I've got 1,000,000 gold sitting here. I don't really want to keep hiring Breeze while I have so many skills to upgrade. But at the same time... Like, I want to keep doing the Cav thing because of my commanders. But I feel like this season I really need dunes. Which makes me want to run potentially different commanders. Because really only Arwen and Gandalf the White can run them. Obviously Theoden and Eowyn can't. But if I swapped out Theoden or Eowyn for like Faramir, he might be able to make them work. Although potentially Elro here instead. Just because Faramir... What gear could I give him? I mean, I guess I could give him a melee might cutlass. Or the gigantic hammer. It might be alright. You could use 250k gold. And if I could send it to people, man, I'd send it to you. That would actually be a nice little feature if you could send resources or gold to people, but like at a reduced rate, like the maybe even less than the market rate. I mean, I think the market rate is too strong as it is. I've talked about that on stream before. It's like tiles just don't matter. Once you get the max level market, the actual resource that tile produces is just irrelevant. You just take the best tiles you can. Like technically at this point, if I wasn't lazy, I should just be sitting on all 150s. Like all these 130s should just be 150s. And then I just trade the stone and the wood for whatever I need. Because like, this is 800 per hour. And then a 150 is 880. But when you pay the 20% tax, it's what, like 760? Something like that? 720 maybe is what it is. Like, the resource difference is just negligible, even if you're trading 100% away. Do resources like we... Yeah, like the defensive camps. Oh, and then what if you could like intercept people's resources? Like if it was actually marching around the map. I mean, you had to give them to an army anyway. And the army could only carry a certain amount based on how many units you had. So yeah, what if you could have that same mechanic, and then if the army... I guess they don't have the infrastructure to do non-tile fights. Like in this game, your armies have to be on the same tile at the same time, or the defender has to be guarding. But like in Epic Age, for example, armies would just fight if they crossed paths. Like if this Gandalf was marching here, and there was an enemy marching here, boom. If they touch, they just fight. I guess they don't have the infrastructure to do that. And that would probably be a pain to code, because then... Like, the way it happens in Epic Age, I think, is anytime your army is crossing a tile, it's considered to be on that tile until it hits the next tile. And so they'd have to completely redo that, and that would probably be a pain to track. What's up, Mr. Green? It's going pretty good, man. Level 1 passes just opened in my kingdom and Rise of Kingdoms. So I was tempted to do those, but I've also been so just freaking knee deep in Discord diplomacy and real life and everything else that I hadn't streamed. Like, I haven't even recorded content for like a week. Like, I have 3 videos ready, and they were ready like a week and a half ago. And one of those 3 got released today. Yeah, that's 5 minutes. Okay. I should be able to get Gandalf the White there in time if I absolutely need to. Or Theoden sitting here. How much of the map have I scouted? Dude, I don't even want to know. Well, so first of all, I was thinking about helping with the passes, but thankfully my kingdom has just some absolutely ridiculous whales. Krakens even. And they were just plowing through them. And I figured I just needed to dedicate a night to some content, you know? Need to, like, I was doing so good in the month of, like, September and October. I was, like, super consistent with the videos, like, really disciplined, and then, like, yikes. Yeah, I know I can see the percent. I'm saying I don't even want to look at it, because almost 100% of the time when I'm playing Rise of Kingdoms, I'm also playing Rise to War, or I'm just hopping on my iPad or my phone to like send guys out to gather or to conscript stuff, build stuff, research stuff, whatever it is. And so I guess it's somewhat of a lengthy explanation. If I'm sitting at my computer playing Rise to War and Rise of Kingdoms, that's already splitting my attention. And then I'm getting like 10 messages on Discord every 5 minutes. So I'm trying to reply to people on Discord. And then I'm like trying to organize stuff for content. So like get screenshots and stuff for thumbnails, get those sent off to my thumbnail guy. Get videos actually uploaded, edit the videos together. Like, so like it's hard enough to like be efficient with burning my AP in Rise of Kingdoms that like I just can't even have, I don't even have the time to send my scouts out. So like I'll send them out just to get them out there, and then like I forget about them, and then they come home after their 5-minute idle time. Like I haven't even done very many caves. It's bad, man. It is bad. Oh, Poofin is free now. Awkward. Just relocated. Yikes, the guy was gonna help just relocated. So I don't really... I'd have to upgrade this fort. Maybe just upgrade this and then give it to him tomorrow. Yeah, don't get burnt out. That's true. I think it's less of getting burnt out and more of just wishing I could do more. Like, I'm really enjoying Rise of Kingdoms, and like I've been pretty darn good about making sure my action points have been burnt every day, including the 500 free action points you get every day. Trying to participate in as many fort rallies as I can, keep gathering and stuff. What will really help is, like, I think it's only going to be this super hectic right now because this season is still only like a week and a half old or something. Like, this Rise to War season is not very old at all. We haven't even unlocked United Factions yet. I don't think it says when this one started, does it? No, I mean, I could go look on Discord or my actual videos because I was streaming the first night. So it's always hectic at the beginning of these seasons. And then the beginning of jumps always feels super hectic too. Because, like, there's so much to do. Like, you need to scout, you need to do your caves, your conscription queues aren't that long, you're trying to grind up all your commanders, you know, open all your chests, do all the events. So I think whenever, like, Lord of the Rings slows down, I'll have a ton of time for Rise of Kingdoms. And then I think once things in Rise of Kingdoms, which they've already started to slow down a bit, once that slows down, then I'd have more time for Lord of the Rings. So, but I want my XP books, dude. I gotta do my scouting for my XP books. Timor's just over here. Let's see if there's a 300. There's gotta be a. There's a 260 I could give him. There's gotta be a 300 somewhere around here. Although if I search it, it's just gonna pick up the ones in Ettenmoor's. This 260 would work. Let me send it to him. I mean, that would be... It's not as good as a 300, but better than nothing. Yeah, I guess any actual open 300 is going to be over here. But, like, if he just comes over here and builds a fort, we should be fine. Oh, freaking bots. Being at jumps are so stressful. Man, I can't even imagine what the leaders of this group went through. Like, massive, massive props and credit to them. Because our group is freaking huge. Like, our group is massive, man. It's like four main alliances, I think, plus farm alliances, plus academy alliances, plus the support alliances. I mean, it is crazy, man. I don't know how they've done it. And, like, you know, then they're trying to track everybody's growth and raise minimum requirements as necessary. Which, that's been... I've, like, been barely keeping up with that, dude. I actually probably need to pump out about 500k power here pretty soon. Because right now our minimum is 2.5 million. And I'm at, like, 2.6 million. But I've been trying to bank as many resources and boosts for that as possible. But I think the passes will help, because that's like 500 minutes of speed ups, and we already took 2, like within the first minutes of it opening up. Scale of ROK gets crazy, yeah. I mean, the teams are just so huge. Like in Rise to War, nowadays you're managing 100 people. And like, then maybe you're interfacing with the leaders of another group of 100. But like Rise of Kingdoms, there's how many people in a kingdom? Like tens of thousands of people in a kingdom. Maybe not tens of thousands, but there's a lot. A lot of people. And so not only do the leaders have to manage your main alliance groups, since your kingdom is supposed to work together, hopefully, then they're also having to help those people manage their groups. Pretty crazy. Hopefully he, oh, poor ha ha ha. Which ha 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 is this? This is Thorondel, I think. Yeah, the adventurer. Prepares for soon end and then doesn't get soon end. Awkward. ROK is spam buttons and come back later. Guess that's one way to put it, yeah. Unless you're trying to chain barbs or something. Which, like, that's another thing I really want to do, is I want to get good at chaining, and then, you know, I'm just out there with LOTR hitting them one at a time, trying to level up my gathering dorks. So, yeah, but you could. Is it 260 open in range of the fortress even? So if you just send one army, I'll clear it for you, and you can walk onto it. See if I can get him over here. Because now I feel super bad about relocating. Like I promised I would help him. So that's fine. The question is if I draw one more time. So at 10 minutes I'll see, and then Gandalf the White is going to take 5 minutes to get there. So I should have enough time even if I wait for one more draw to go through. Yeah, man. Where was that 260? I don't even remember where it was. Oh, it's actually not too far from my base anyway. Say, just let me know when you're like 15 away. I think 15 minutes would be enough time to get my armies over there. I would just move them. Yeah. I also need to save 40 stamina on each commander, pretty much. Good size kingdom is about 5,000 people. Halfway to when the king position opens. That's a lot of people, man. How to counter Sunni is good side. I have seen people having success with Gandalf the Grey, with Dunedain, and like a melee build. So that I think can potentially work. I've seen Gandalf the Whites doing reasonably well, of course, with Dunedain. I think the optimal counter would be something like Éomer with his unique. Just because then his entire army is going to focus down the Arbalests, and that's exactly what you want. Oh, he's about 15 minutes away now. Okay. Well, in that case... Cool. After this R1 draw, I'll move over. Oh, so we can actually get it for him here in a minute, which means I need to stop dropping this tile and I'll need to tile cap myself. Éomer seems like a good option for doing that. Roman, what is up, man? Always nice to see you here. How am I doing? I'm pretty good. A little bit tired, but that's pretty much par for the course for having a 18-month-old daughter. She's absolutely crazy. Little nutcase, but in a good way. I mean, she melts my heart, man. Mr. Ukraine. So he does have a decent build for it. But you just have to have dunes. 100%. I mean, look at this damage. There's no way you can compete with that damage without Dunedain. Alright, I need to also not screw myself over by tile capping myself. So I need to leave one tile open for this. But yeah, I mean, like, she's at the point now where in the morning when she wakes up and she sees me and she runs over and goes, Dada! And I just melt, man. Just GG. Just the cutest thing. I think he may say, of course she comes after. The really awkward thing about this game, the current state of this game. Oh no, all those 90s are dropping. Oh man. Can I prevent any more of them from dropping? Probably not. Nope. Oh, so now I have to tile cap myself even more. Well, at least now I won't have to worry about screwing myself over on the tile capping. Well, I took it anyway. So the really awkward thing about the state of this game is it's really, really like hard counter based. And the difficulty with that... Let me at least get these guys moving. Éomer was doing it. It's a lot of the fights, it's like when you win, you really win. And when you lose, you really lose. But it's very difficult to know what you're gonna hit before you hit it. There's like a fundamental difficulty in obtaining proper intel in this game. Like, it's possible if people are just sitting there on a tile doing nothing and you can scout them with your ring skill. But the amount of times that actually works out is pretty close to zero, because like when people are actively fighting, you know, if you scout them, they're just going to move or guard swap or whatever. What do I think they should do to improve the game? I think the number one thing that they should do... I should probably actually use these guys to path for myself, rather than just picking up completely random tiles. The number one thing I think they need to do is just add more stuff to do than fight. So, I think this game has a lot of advantages over Rise of Kingdoms, since we were talking about ROK a minute ago, in that it's way less pay to win, although it's still pay to win. But like, I mean, in Rise of Kingdoms, if you had infinite money, if you're Jeff Bezos or Steve Jobs or whoever, I guess Steve Jobs is dead now, rest in peace. Is he dead? Anyway, you could just insert your credit card into your computer and just hold down the train troop button forever for an infinite amount of time, and you can have an infinite amount of troops. And it's kind of crazy that's possible. So even when people whale commanders in this game, it's still not to the same pay-to-win extent. But one of the really good things about Rise of Kingdoms, maybe I just think this because I'm still new, is there's just so much stuff to do in the game. It's like every single day you log in, and I was talking to you about this earlier in Discord, Green. It's like, okay, boom, today I need to farm barbarians. I need to kill as many barbarians as possible. Alright, now the next day, you log in. Oh man, now I need to just do fort rallies all day long. You know, rally as many forts as possible. And then you log in the next day, and it's like, okay, I need to gather as many resources as I can. And like, every single time you're doing these events, you're just getting free goodies. You're just getting extra stuff. And so it's like, every single day there's something new to work towards and get goodies. And it's just a really nice like feedback loop. You know, it's not just I need to log in and grind tiles all day. Right? You don't just log in and farm barbarians all day long. And then they have like the mini games inside the game. They have like that pseudo arena mode. So I think there just needs to be more to do. In Rise to War, there's two things to do. There we go, 2. Number 1, you grind tiles. And that lasts for like 2 weeks of each season. Depending on how much you play. If you're like a super hardcore player, and like, I've been so freaking casual this season, it like even disgusts myself. But if you're a really hardcore player, by the time 2 weeks is done, you have a 200 power tile. You know, you have 200 of them. 200 to 300 power tiles. And you're done. You don't need to grind anymore. Unless you just want to level a commander for the heck of it. And then 2, the second thing to do is kill people. And if your server is not competitive, even that phase is going to last about 2 weeks. And then you're sitting there for a month. All you do is you log in whenever this thing is shiny, and you just go, okay, give me my free chest. Okay, yeah, I got a bunch of blue items. Guess I'll check tomorrow. And like once a month, you get something cool. Jeez, I'm still not even done with this. Crazy. So yeah, my number 1 thing would be give me stuff to do. Also, it is nice to see you, Derek. Dude, we gotta play Vermintide soon. I'm nowhere close to having enough resources for this. So I guess I start working on my tributes. I mean, I'm getting the unit buildings that I want to 6 of 6 for the most part. I don't want to do my cav buildings yet. So, yeah, I guess I do tributes. Get those caught up, and then tomorrow start my thing. Yeah, the community in Rise of Kingdoms is really good. I mean, there are so many guides for that game. It's incredible. Like, that game is more well documented, I would say, than most like actual PC games. Right? Like, you want to know a build for a commander, you know, go watch one of the YouTubers, go to one of the websites. There's bots that can pull builds for you from websites. There's multiple Discords to pull builds from. You know, you go in there, go to the Archer Discord and be like, yo guys, I need a build for KVK1 for YSG. And then boom, somebody helps you out. So, and there's so many like opportunities to work together with people in Rise of Kingdoms as well. So like in Rise of War, you can work together on bosses, but they're so easy that you're only working together because it's advantageous. You're not working together because you have to, right? Unless you're like a super big whale in Rise of Kingdoms, you need other people to rally forts with you. Like for me, I could rally a fort because my castle can hold enough troops, but I don't have enough troops to solo a fort. But if another homie comes over, and now, boom, we have enough troops. Actually, I'm just going to instant recall her because I need to help this guy with the tile. You have... Okay, I gotta catch up on the chat real quick. Have I seen the ads for this game? Looks like an RPG game. Yeah, I have seen some of those. Ironically, on YouTube gives me ads for this game, even though you would think it, that it would realize that I play this game a lot. I don't need an ad for the game. Looks like an RPG game slang. Dude, that would be a really cool mini-game mode. Derek says he has Vermintide ready, so that's awesome. We'll definitely play sometime soon. Maybe even, let's see, tomorrow is board game night. Maybe Thursday. So Wednesday will be a content night, and then Thursday will be me and my wife's night to hang out. And she likes playing Vermintide too, so maybe Thursday. Happy Monday to you as well, John. Normally I don't stream on Mondays, but I was too busy this past Friday, fortunately. You're supposed to relocate, but the store reset and they didn't give me a relocation item for 2 days now. Yeah, I should actually check that. Thank you for the reminder. I hate that it's random now, which is why the only things I ever buy in this store anymore, unless I'm about to be at 3,000 contribution, I buy the 30-minute treatment for 100. And other than that, the only other thing I buy is the 500 relocation. That way I never miss a relocation. Thing about this game compared to others is this Lord of the Rings. Yes. I mean, that's one of the main things this game has going for it is Lord of the Rings is such a cool and popular universe. Oh, you're getting your marriage license finalized, dude? Congratulations. When? Oh, I think you told me that you were getting married soon. When did you guys get married? It must have been super recent, right? That's exciting though, man. It's a big deal, my dude. Wonder if I need to take one of these to connect it. See if I can see his army coming in, actually. Is this his army coming? I wish I could just click the line and find the army. Well, I don't think he's going to be 15 minutes out if this is his army. Oh. Oh, that's my wife coming in. He must be coming from this way then, unless he's already there. Oh, he is here. Let me ask him, do you need me to take one of the connecting tiles? What are other things that could improve this game? Besides more to do, which I mean that could take the form of an arena mode. It could take the form of like invasions of some kind. You know, like NPC invaders come and you can get points for killing them or whatever. Like a mini game mode, more like an RPG. The next thing I would do, and this would be very difficult, is rework the balance of the game. And that's like a super broad statement. Yeah, but like one of the fundamental flaws of PvP in this game, when I was talking about when the stream first started, is okay, for example, you're using Witch King, you hit Dwalin with knights, a burn protection helm and a burn protection chest, you're just dead. Sorry, bro. GG, better luck next time. That same Witch King hits something else that's not set up to have burn resistance, just blows it up. Just goodbye, see you later. And there's so many examples of that in this game, where half the time it feels like a coin flip when you're going into battle. Like if there's 30 armies stacked on a crossing, you just gotta go for it, right? And you hope that your Theoden doesn't hit a freaking Khaldun. Or you hope that your Gandalf the Grey hits the Witch King and doesn't hit a Sauron or whatever. So, what's up, Sassy Pants? What are we learning about? Green asked me what I would do to improve the game. And the easy first step would be adding more content. The difficult second step would be making the PvP not so coin flippy. But like, I don't even know where you'd start on that, you know? Like, it's such it's an easy thing to say, but a really hard thing to actually do. I should be pathing so that I can actually take this for my friend here. Got married on October 1st. Oh, still pretty new. You got the license application. Okay, so you did like a ceremony on October 1st. And then you're just signing all the paperwork this coming Thursday to make it legally official. Alright, how do I set up Arwen day 1? I go for her R5 tree first. At least I did as Arnor. Because as Arnor, you start with a full line of men units, and the R5 tree gives you healing, damage reduction, and damage bonus. So I put like 2-1-1, then R5 tree full, and then a few more points over here in healing, and then I went for R3. If I started as an Elven faction, I would be much more inclined to take the R3 tree a bit earlier. Just because the damage bonus on the Elven units is going to be pretty huge. So so you feel like adding more content that actually matters. Yeah. And one of the problems is because this is a seasonal game, how do you add content that can matter each season? And that's another like weird question, right? So like in Rise of Kingdoms, you can have all this extra stuff because your account progression is kind of theoretically infinite, right? Like you max out your commander level 60, it's always going to be level 60, right? I mean, there's so many things to grind for though that like unless you're paying, you're never going to get everything. But in Rise to War, it's like, how do you add extra goodies that only affect the current season? And that'd be one of the tough things. Because, like, I'm sure NetEase doesn't want to just start handing out T3 respect, you know, like candy at Halloween. You know, because that's not going to make them money. Gold is already basically infinite in this game. Alright, I should start dropping some of these now, though. So I think one of the difficulties would be just the reward system. The thing I would like to see primarily would be more ways of getting apothecary speed-ups. Because that's like the biggest bottleneck in this game, at least for PvP in this game. But again, that's like a source of revenue for them, so I don't know. It's a tough question. I mean, This is why game development is it's a pretty tough field, the grand scheme of things. All right, this is 85. I take one more. We do 86. And then in 5 minutes. How do you counter Reapers? Dude, you don't. You don't counter Reapers. Reapers are broken. 5 mins on my Arwen. Capping myself. I mean, just a bunch of tanky units and a damage commander would be the serious answer to that question. Like, if you're mono stacking Guardians as Dwalin or whatever, Gimli. I think the other thing would potentially be like a super high burst damage commander. So like Faramir, maybe Haldir, but the problem is they're running ranged units. So who would be? Maybe Gil. Gil with White Council and Champion of the Light might do it. Gala probably does it. Monostack Gala with Guardians or Guards of the Tower. That would probably work. But she doesn't do a lot of burst damage, though. I think you have to either completely mitigate them through high defense units, or you have to blow them up before they hit round 5. That'd be my... They're a crazy unit, though. So yeah, I don't know. The Lord of the Ring theme of the game restricts what they can do. Yeah, it does. It does to some extent, yeah. Like with Rise of Kingdoms and history, you know, they can be somewhat historically accurate with the heroes that are in the game, but they don't have to, like, you know, be Europa Universalis or something. It's trying to, like, be actually reasonably historically accurate. Alright, which of these guys has the least stamina? Eomer. So Eomer should definitely go home. Witch King would do it, I imagine. Oh, you know who it probably is then? Elrond, dude. Elrond could probably slay some Reapers. If you did like Convener with his double anti-evil thing. So yeah, you take Convener and then Champion of the Light and Starlight. That would probably blow some Reapers up. That might even be pretty decent against Sunind as well. Man, I should be going for Elrond instead of Radagast. I bought 10 of these feathers, these meme feathers, yesterday. EU4 has been around for too long. Dude, if and when EU5 comes out, actually it's a Paradox game, so it'll probably be awful when it first comes out. But I would love to stream that again. I freaking love EU4, man. Love EU4. Finishing up your season 1, learned a lot through playing and watching videos like yours. Well, thank you. I appreciate you watching the videos, my friend. What would be tips that you could have given myself for season 2? All right, my number 1 tip for anybody going into season 2 is, this is really any season after season 1, is embrace your inner Genghis Khan, right? Because every season you go, there's going to be more and more people that are competitive. Because over time, the casual players are going to drop off. You know, they get bored after their second or third season, whatever. So tiles are going to go really quickly. in every later season, tiles go more and more and more quickly. Don't fall into the trap of sitting in one spot and being sad about the fact that you don't have tiles. This map is huge. Pathing can be a pain, but if you're willing to go out there, so this is like a week and a half in. For example, if we come down here, 200, 200, 200. You just go find the tiles, man. 200, 230. You probably just come kill this guy because he's probably not active. 230, 230. So don't fall into the trap of just sitting in your spot being sad about the fact. Let me make sure this guy still ready. Make sure he's still ready to take this 260. Don't fall into the trap of feeling sorry for yourself and sit there and feel like you can't keep growing, because you can. Alright, this is going to be potentially painful, but this guy is a homie. This guy that I'm getting this tile for actually has one of the craziest Aragorns I've ever seen in the game, in my opinion. Elrond's only good for RP. One day I'll go non-RP. I'll probably have to go non-RP because they're probably going to push the game in that direction eventually, I would think. Just because it's more money for them. You know. I somewhat dread the day when they do it, but I think from a business perspective, it just makes the most sense for them, and you know, they gotta make money. So hopefully I full clear this. If not, I should be able to recall one of the Cav commanders and smack it again. Maybe just recall Gandalf the White. Smack it again. Don't go Angmar. Well, besides the starting situation, I think Angmar is pretty decent. Their early economy just sucks. Terrible. Buy relocation tokens from the store whenever you can. True, yes. 100%. Save for the relocation tokens and the fully clear. Yeah. I'll say go. It's clear. Who else do I need to recall? Arwen and Eowyn. And for anybody that doesn't know, that's how you you gift a tile. If you tile cap yourself, you can fully clear the defense, and then they can just walk onto the tile and take it for free. So let's actually check the reports out real quick. Really good matchup for my Arwen, to be honest. Since Kirun's a low damage commander and I had guards at the tower. Pretty solid fight there. Poor Eowyn. Although this worked out really well, because this was a super low army. So yeah, she actually took 0 casualties. And then kind of crushed that Gothmog. That was not too bad. Send everybody home. You can go RP, non-RP and play it like RP. You can, but you're going to be at somewhat of a disadvantage inherently by not having those, you know, that flexibility available to you, I guess is what you would say. Like, one of the biggest things in this game, like the biggest advantage whales have, in my opinion, is their ability to have a deeper roster of commanders which means they can adapt to situations more easily than non-whales. All right, I need to keep conscripting the dunes. Because I have a feeling that tomorrow I'm going to be fighting an endless wave of Sunins. Well, while these tiles drop, let me add... What's the easiest way to do this? Let me go to random.org first. Bring it over here. I'm going to do the new version of the giveaway. But I also need to find... Where did I save? Here it is. So this is going to be kind of complicated, I think. Because I need to add these things. I'll just do display capture, actually. That'll be the easiest way to do it. Okay. So you guys probably can't see me anymore. Which is fine, I'll move myself up. But what I need to do is I have this list. And I need to do a random number between 1 and 51. And hopefully a person that's already won doesn't win. So generate 1, 51, boom, get numbers. Number 36 is the final winner of the giveaway, which is Frost Odin. Yo, my boy Frost Odin. I love that guy. Let me see if I can message him. See if I can at him. Is he still on here? Frost Odin. Message me when you have a chance. You're the final winner of the giveaway because the original winner never got back to me. I swear people are gonna think that this was completely rigged. They're gonna truly believe that it was completely rigged. All right, we can get rid of this now and go back to the game. Because, so like the winner of the gift card was T, who I played with last season. And then one of the other winners of like either the t-shirt, the coffee cup, or the water bottle was Tax, who I've played with last season and play with this season. Another winner was Khan, who I played like 3 or 4 seasons with. And then the final winner is now Frost Odin, who was on my server last season as well. So, let me actually DM him too. Yo, man. Yep, you have a minute. You're the last winner of the giveaway. But I swear, it was all thanks to random.org. Well, you know what? I'm actually probably going to need 2 of these. 2 of these commanders. And I feel bad. I feel so bad. Poor Thor. So Thorondil has elite dunes on his Gandalf the White to fight Sunni. And then he gets Undying. Then he has his Gandalf double ranged who runs into Sunni. Poor. He's having a rough night, man. I actually should check the tunnel. Are we being pushed there, or are people just kind of poking? Oh. I actually have some people coming. How many people do we have over here? Maybe... Oh, I don't have an army. I don't have a fort that can reach there. So I should probably send one of these pathing dorks. I'll just do Gandalf. So, because I should have a fort in range of this optimally. I don't know if I'll wake up with a fort there, but should. All right, my wife said just because you know and play with the winners doesn't mean anyone will think it's rigged. Fair. I guess, yeah, a lot of the people that do hang out on the Discord are people that I've played with, so. That's a good point. That's a good point. Anything interesting going on in world chat? It's always a risk to check world chat. Khaldun is OP and versatile. Facts. Khaldun is the best commander in the game, by the way. For sure. In terms, let me clarify that. In terms of like investment per like performance. Because you don't have to spend much on a Khaldun that can really hold his own against a lot of stuff. So he's not the strongest at just blowing people up, but in terms of the amount of performance you can get out of like a $200 Khaldun, it's crazy. Tarminia Tower. This guy's a pretty big hitter. I assume he's going to run full T4s. Or sorry, full ranged when he gets T4, I should say. Was he over here? I guess he was, but is not currently. WKs are so yummy. True. True. Interesting that he's running Reapers and Arbalests. I don't know if I would run Arbalests on Witch King. I feel like Berserkers or something might be better. I don't know. I don't play evil though, so maybe these days with Dispersion, running Arbalests is totally fine. Alright. GTW and Arwen. They can tag team this 230 over here. Take care, Mr. Green. It was nice talking to you, man. Certainly don't be a stranger on Discord. Always happy to answer your questions about this game. Lord knows you've answered like 500 of my questions about Rise of Kingdoms, so it's only fair. I feel like I've been talking forever without a sip of water. So, while the tiles drop, you can take a drink. I think another thing I'll do to make this game better is add a ring skill that can reduce tile dropping time. That might be risky, but like dropping tiles, just waiting for them to drop is so frustrating. And I think you could change it to if the tile's in conflict. So like if somebody has war popped, it wouldn't reduce the time it takes. So, you know, if it's in conflict, maybe it still takes 30 minutes, but if it's not, you can reduce it by some amount. Do I keep dunes on her? I think I need to save them for tomorrow. So I think I just put Cavaliers in instead. That way when I'm getting completely farmed by wailed out Sunnis, I'll at least have some. Uh-oh, I'm a bad boy. Charlie's spamming don't hit Angmar. Although I'm not really hitting Ang. I guess I did steal that one. I'll try to be a good boy, though, and path around the Angmar tiles. Rather than... Although, like, I'm not going to go out of my way if it's, like, a 10 power tile or whatever. I mean, honestly, anything below a 200, nobody should really care about in terms of if it gets taken from you. Like, oh no, you have to burn 20 stamina on your 19th string commander to take it back. Oh, pretty soon. Oh yeah, I forgot she got Gandalf the White. My wife is so freaking lucky in this game. Like, I was saving up for like 2 seasons to get my Gandalf the White to R5. And he's not even one of her main commanders because she has Galadriel as her like main T3 commander. And then last season she just pulls Gandalf the White just randomly. I'm like scraping by to get mine to R5, and one night she's sitting on the couch like opening her daily chest and she's like, I got Gandalf the White. Like, nice. Nice. Let me tell her. I just bragged about your luck on stream. Also, let me... should probably nuke this display capture thing so I don't accidentally turn it on. Surprised I don't keep a mid-level fighter to escort your pathers in case somebody hits your pathing tiles. I think if I thought that these guys were active, that would be the big brain play. But the time of night and the fact that Angmar has like 20 players or something. I mean, I don't... there we go. 38. Angmar has 38 players. Oh, wait. Plus 21. That's what, 59? Look at all these Angmar fellowships down here. And Angmar is popping. But yeah. I mean, normally I would just sit, you know, like, I take this tile, Arwen sits there, and, you know, it's whatever. Like, yeah, if this was a war zone or something, I for sure would. We have 6.5 minutes. How long is it even going to take her? 7:21. So, pretty sure I'll have to hit this with 2. I don't think Arwen right now can take it herself. Say that you randomly pull GTW. The other crazy thing about my wife's luck is I've spent significantly more money on this game than she has. I mean, I'm not a whale by any means, not even close. But like her Gala is way more geared out than any of my commanders. Have any solid PvP reports yet? I don't. PvP is like, for us, is only barely started. We had a fight over here, and then that's about it. I think tomorrow or the next day is probably going to be the big day. I mean, even in our fellowship, if we look at, where is contributions? Over here. Yeah. I actually have not even looked at these new things. Oh, finally we have people. We have 88 people contributing, or I'm 88th. I guess you don't show up until you're at least 100. But I mean, you can see it's barely started for most of us. I mean, Karkiles, I think that's how he wants his name to be pronounced. The guy I used his Gandalf the White for my video, he's been killing people like crazy. But like, Charlie's our biggest whale by far. He's barely fought. Tax is a very big player too. He's barely fought. I think this is Solar Scout. Solar Scout's like the prestige god. Probably gonna hit 3 million this season. Like, not even exaggerating. I think I've only had 2 PvP fights in total. I think one I caught like a low level Pather, and one Sunid just dunked me. So yeah, there's me getting dunked by a Sunni. And I guess it wasn't a level path, it was a Witch King. So, but I mean, I was 5 levels up. Like, it's, do you really count that? I don't know. He had plus 18. I had plus 19. I mean, it's not a bad report. Like, he had T2s. I don't know. Not something I'd show off necessarily. And then this was just a yikes. Big yikes. What happens when you don't have dunes? 200,000 damage arbalists. Although I think that guy had a max. Either a max or a close to max academy. He's okay, he had level 9. Because he's sitting on plus 22 from Academy and plus 5 from Sunni. So he had 69 command. And then I had 56. So yeah, it was... How come your season is ending in 20 hours and mine isn't? That's because the ending of seasons is based on when they start. Okay, so for sure it used to be... I'm getting... Okay, good. I was getting paranoid that I sent too early. For sure it used to be a purely time-based thing. The seasons were like 50 to 60 days long. I'm pretty sure now, though, that bag end is a thing. They are at least somewhat based on the progression of your server. Because recently... like every single server I've heard about and like talked to people on those servers, it's like 2 weeks after the progression chapters are completed, whatever you call these things. It's like 2 weeks after that, boom, the season ends. So the long story short is that each server has its own level of progression, and you know, all of the seasons don't start and end simultaneously. Best elite skill for dunes? Probably the first one, at least. Oh, we crashed. If you're fighting arbalests like we are this season, I would say it has to be the first one. Is there new seasons? Yes, absolutely. So maybe I should have logged into a bag end account real quick. Yeah, let me hop over to bag end real quick and I can show you. But yeah, so season 1 is now a mini War of the Ring campaign, which is pretty cool. There's one of the 4 factions, 4 whatever you want to call it. Yeah, there's only 4 factions that you can join. Then season 2 is what season 1 used to be, where you're fighting over the ring. And then season 3 is like season 2, except you also get to upgrade buildings out on the map. So I'm assuming you're in season 1 right now, Mr. Laced Up. And I think you have to do season 1, then season 2, and then you come into bag end. So your account will pop up in this place. You're going to learn to hate this place because you can't do anything here except click your free glowy chest. And then what you do is you figure out which season you want to play. So like Kings of Men, players can make their own factions. Tactics Evolved, you get elite skills on your units. War of the Ring, is strictly good versus evil. You're escorting Frodo around. Rebuilding Glory, you're fighting over Dol Guldur, but you're also upgrading buildings. Tactics Evolved, you're also fighting over Dol Guldur, but you have elite skills instead of upgrading buildings. So there's at least some amount of unique flavor to each season that you play. And you will... I need to pick the right account here. You keep your respect levels and your commander's equipment, and then any non-seasonal items, which are pretty rare. You keep your gems, you keep your coins, but like your combat level resets, your tiles reset, your base resets, everything resets. The newest campaign is Kings of Men, which is the one where people make their own factions. So easy Khaldun fight into a somewhat painful fight against Lurtz. That's pretty bad for a 230, I have to say. Pretty rough. They've made tiles so much more difficult, man. Kind of crazy. My wife says she has good RNG because she's the best. True. That's just a fact. A fact of life. Reaper counter take 1. Yeah, I mean, I guess the other thing is you just give them a lower defense unit to hit than the unit that you want to protect. That's what Karch is going to try. He wants to protect his dunes by sacrificing another unit in their place, so the Reapers will attack the other unit. You haven't played your evil account in almost a year. Would it be an S2 or S6? It'd be whichever one you wanted to play. So your account should be in Bag End if it's still alive and kicking. And so you could pick rebuild. Like, I would probably suggest doing Rebuilding Glory, which is season 3. That way, hopefully, you're not going to be up against people that have played like 8 seasons or whatever. Like, you still could hit people that have played a bunch of seasons more than you, but I think that'd be one of the lower chance campaigns to hit people that have been playing for forever. But I mean, if you wanted to just go into Kings of Men, you'd be able to. That's probably where most of the people are that have played tons of seasons, I would think. Don't know that for sure, but most of the time, like, people who have been around for a while, they just want to play the new season because they've played the other ones, like, 2 times through for the most part. Straight up fact. My wife is a funny lady. Funny woman. Let's see if there's anything. Was this at the tunnels? Oh, well, they're like actually attacking the tunnel for real. Oh, speaking of, yeah, my Gandalf still isn't there. Super for reals. Been really slacking on my contribution. Is there a new season to play every time you finish one? They were trying to do that for a while, and I think it was kind of overwhelming because the seasons were like a maximum length of 2 months. And I mean, to me, having to crank out a brand new season every 2 months, That's gotta be just killer on your development time. Like, you know, when would they ever sleep? So they've kind of slowed it down a little bit. And my guess is they'll probably do 3 to 4 new seasons a year. I mean, this is not official. This is me speculating. I mean, it used to be they were cranking them out. But there's been an extra long break between Kings of Men and whatever season 7 will be. And my theory is that it was just too much to keep up with, and that they're just going to have to slow it down. So I would bet 3 to 4 seasons a year, which means you'll play like a new season and then an old season and then a new season and an old season, which should be all right. There's 7 right now, 6 right now, I think. There's S1, S2, S3, so season 1 and 2 don't have special names. Season 3 is Rebuilding Glory. Season 4 is War of the Ring. Season 5 is Tactics Evolved. And Season 6 is Kings of Men. And 7 should be coming soon-ish, I believe. They haven't given a specific release date, and I haven't heard anything. But it would probably be the end of this month or the beginning of next month. Just a wild guess. And so then so that'll be S7. I bet you season 8 won't come until like March or something. Just a guess. So Gunda started hitting the crossing. Yup. They sure did. Alright, hopefully this will be less painful. And unfortunately, not many of us have forts in range for exactly where they are yet. Is there a reason to go back and play seasons you've played already? Yeah, just for fun, basically. Yeah, you know, I think people are going to naturally gravitate towards whichever modes they enjoy the most. I think mechanics-wise, Rebuilding Glory is probably my favorite. Because, so in Rebuilding Glory, you'll come to this boost screen, and in this area, every single keep and control point has like a level. It's like level 1, some go to 10, some go all the way to 25. And you have to capture them and then level them up. And you get a lot of really cool bonuses along the way. It's like, in Tactics Evolved, you just get some of the bonuses. But in Rebuilding Glory, you can get things like faster healing speed, like army defense for men, just all kinds of just funky little bonuses. And so, you know, like Rivendell was like 1% wounded treatment time reduction per like 10 shrines or whatever that you control. And I liked that dynamic because it made you somewhat more cognizant of which keeps you were taking and why. You know, you didn't want to just go take freaking everything because you can't upgrade everything. I mean, if you can take everything, obviously you're still going to take everything, but it made specific things have very high value, which I thought was a cool dynamic. And my issue with Elite Tactics so far is the Elite training is just so slow. Like, holy cow, man. It takes forever. And I don't want to accuse the game of being intentionally pay to win. I mean, I've got 50k gems. I could boost this if I wanted to. 8 hours is going to cost, what, a few hundred gems? Yeah, 300 gems. But where was I going with that? So, like, in Rebuilding Glory, you can't buy extra levels of your structure. Everybody in your faction gets 10 quests a week. Boom, you can upgrade it. That's it. You can't pay for more. But in Tactics Evolved, it's just like one more layer of like kind of pay to win stuff. If you're a big spender that can blow through 10,000 gems a season and just instantly crank out your elite skills, you are somewhat bottlenecked with the amount of books you get, but I don't know. For my taste, it's just kind of slow. I think it provides some interesting choices, but a lot of it's like really obvious what the best choice is. Oh yeah, which somebody was asking about the best Dune thing, Dune elite skill. Like, for example, if we look at Bow Knights, right, we have light armor, damage received from melee units minus 1%. Well, optimally, your Bow Knights aren't getting hit by melee units anyway. Then you get dispersion. Every single round you attack everybody for extra damage. Or extra damage but can't be healed. Like, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that in almost every situation imaginable, just hitting every single enemy is really freaking good. You can counter it by mono stacking and things like that, but in a lot of ways I think it's more of the illusion of choice than actual choice. Like, what do Breeze get? Melee reduction, parry, and finesse. This could actually be an interesting choice. Because if you're hitting like alerts or whatever, Dwalin, Dane, finesse is super good. Otherwise, parry would be better. Parry might just always be better, though. Not that I dislike Tactics Evolved by any means. I'm not trying to just sit here and like dump on it for no reason. So, can you play S1 and S2 whenever? That you cannot do. So after S1 and S2, you can pick between Season 3 and onward, at least so far. But like S1 and War of the Ring are basically the same campaign. Now, the new S1. And S2 and Rebuilding Glory are basically the same campaign as well. Do I be a bad person and take these Angmar tiles? Even though we were told not to take Angmar tiles? Do I have to just path to a brand new tile completely? I actually think there was one open over here. Another 230. So I could just take this one. He should be able to take it no problem. It's going to be a long walk for Arwen, though. Yeah, you're welcome, man. Feel free to ask whatever other questions you have. They get active at 4 or 5 our time. Assuming it means 4 or 5 a.m. Yeah. That's one of the awkward things, too, is like when your team and another team are just on completely different time zones. But while Faramir runs over here, I'm going to run to the restroom real quick, so be right back, guys. All right. Of course, I smacked myself in the face with my headphones on the way out. Faramir or Haldir at R10? I think Faramir has some advantages. Namely, let me pull him up. The fact that he can run Wizard's Fireworks, which can come with Hunter's Mark, which I have on this pair. So your allied units and commander, that's important for Faramir, get Pursuit. Pursuit allows you to ignore avoidance / evasion, same thing. Because he's not an elf, he's allowed to use these, and Pursuit is an extremely powerful effect in the current metagame because of Gil-galad and Grima primarily, and Gandalf the Grey to some extent. However, in terms of overall skill tree, if we take a look at Faramir, this skill tree is just dead. Just pretty much useless. I mean, you can kind of take it early game to get a little bit of extra XP, but for PvP, never take these points. Foresight is mostly useless because you're going to be running fireworks on him anyway. And the air skill tree, in my opinion, is extremely bad. And it's not like dead points in the same way the last steward tree is, but it's pretty bad. Haldir, Faramir has a slightly worse unique in my opinion too. So his gives the first 2 rounds, you get initiative and extra damage. Which, this is actually a super good unique, don't get me wrong. Very, very good unique item. But Haldir can't use fireworks, which is kind of awkward. His accessory slot is less optimal in my opinion. You want to look for like a harp with Might of Elves or whatever on it, probably something like that. However, his skill tree as a whole is way, way better. So he has Guide as well, obviously. If you have access to Eagles or Bjorns, Beast Training can be incredibly good. March Warden is an amazing skill for 1 point because every 3rd round you give a unit evasion. And most importantly, his R5 tree is just fantastic. I mean, Galadrim, the amount of extra damage you can pump out with this is incredible. Shield Training, very solid. If you like popping guard and defending, Fortify is great. And then obviously follow-up is super, super good as well. This amounts to... what was it? Let me do the math on my calculator. 2.9 times 7, 20%. So it's about a 20% damage boost on average, which is pretty solid. And his unique gives elves units, they just permanently get initiative. You don't have to be on wood. The only part that matters for the wood tiles is the defense. Initiative is 100% of the time. And the ability to have permanent initiative is just crazy. It's super good. So I think Haldir is a bit better. Would I consider running Haldir with a mono stack of Bow Knights? Probably not. I think like the best setup for him would probably be like Eagle, March Warden, Sentinel. You could run him with Arnor's Tier 4s, then like Sentinel Bow Knight. I don't know, I mean, maybe a mono stack of Bow Knights would work, but usually mono stack commanders are like damage dealing commanders, so. You're late, what have you missed? Well, we talked a lot about potentially how to make the game better. We talked about how seasons work. We talked about Faramir versus Haldir. I don't know what else have we talked about. Talked about Rise of Kingdoms a bunch too, since one of the guys that came by pretty early is a big Rise of Kingdoms player. I'm talking super loud. Am I talking super loud? Should I? My wife said she can hear me in the bedroom. Let me turn the music down slightly, because I think the music, hearing the music in my ear, like, it makes me talk louder because then I want, it's one of those weird little phenomenons or whatever, where like you want to hear yourself talking for whatever reason. You know, like it's like when people have, what is it called? Not headphones. Like noise canceling things, you know, when you're doing a job that's really loud, or you go to like the shooting range to shoot a gun. 14 minutes, bruh. Anyways, the things you wear on your ears that protects them from loud noises, you know, and you like walk up to somebody that's wearing that and you're like, "Hey, bro," and they just like yell at you, "Hey, man." You know, without even thinking about it, they just yell at you because they want to hear themselves talk. Talk about which T1 evil commander is best against Witch King. I guess if he doesn't have Madness Protection, probably Grima. I think it would have to be Grima. Because you can take the Avoidance skill. I think it says R3 title. It's like a 50% chance. One of his skills is like a 50% chance to evade attacks for the first like 3 rounds or 2 rounds, whatever it is. But you deal 30% less damage. But you're really coming out on top because if you're avoiding 50% of the attacks, in theory, you're reducing your incoming damage by 50%, but only lowering your outgoing damage by 30%. So, I think that can help mitigate the convener rounds. You could just get unlucky and get blown up, though. Oh, sorry. Other than that, I guess Khaldun with anti-burn chest would probably do fine. As far as T2 commanders best against Witch King, I don't know. Evil T2s are kind of awkward. I mean, the Shadow could potentially stun Witch King's army round 1, which is solid. But Witch King tends to be good against damage dealers because he has such high burst damage. And Shadow is a damage dealer. Should tell this guy I'm not going to take his tiles. Unless he just like wants to come fight me for some reason. Let me tell him I come in peace, bro. I come in peace, my friend. S2 Angmar is at war with Isengard. Your server has so many whales. Witch King's been used in every 3 armies. Sounds about right. Yeah, if you're free to play, any whaled out Witch King is going to be a nightmare in general. I would lean towards Screamer or Khaldun. Like, Gothmog. Gothmog's just probably not going to do it. If they don't have Madness Protection, maybe some crazy Azru core build with Treason would work. But that's just kind of a coin flip on the RNG. Yeah, T2 evil is awkward. It's kind of an interesting dynamic. I think T1 evil is better than T1 good. I think T2 good is significantly better than T2 evil. And I think T3 evil is significantly better than T3 good. Half a Witch King with your Khaldoon? I mean, that's pretty good, man. Especially if you're free to play. I mean, it's just kind of one of those things with games like this, is you just have to be comfortable doing what you can do based on your level of investment, right? I mean, there's always going to be a bigger whale unless you're the biggest whale. But as long as like you're focusing on as much as you can, they're free to play players and pathing and sieging and burning forts, you know, you're still helping your faction quite a lot. And if you can take out even half an army and then one of your big hitters can come in and pick up that fight, the fact that they're hitting a half-dead army is going to make it a very lopsided battle, you know, in their favor. So I would try to coordinate as well with like your guys that are able to hit pretty hard. I don't know if he's going to see my message. I'm not trying to come fight him. And now oh, he hit Undying again. Yikes. Does he have Glamdring? He does have Glamdring now. Not the Tranquility Hat. Concentration's pretty good too, though. It's Season 2, so some players are still new. We have spenders scared of going against Witch Kings. Well, that's a problem, in my opinion. I mean, your spenders, they have to be willing to take the fights, right? And that's kind of their job. Like, if you have spenders that are afraid to get their hands dirty, then you're going to have a rough time overall. Where do I even put this fort? I actually think I put it back here. Because this spot is actually closer to this area. Actually, can I reach over here? Nope. Could reach over here though. So I might put one fort behind the river and then also put a fort in that other tunnel area. But being behind the river here will allow me to help defend this tunnel without my fort being too vulnerable. And it would allow me to reach this entire area more easily than putting my fort over here somewhere. So I think that's a better fort spot. And I actually need to send Gandalf the White, don't I? 756, yep. Been focusing the most on Legacy. We have him at R9. You know he falls off, but he's your favorite? I mean, if he's your favorite, man, go for it. There's nothing wrong with that. It's not like he's terrible. It's not like he just all of a sudden becomes useless. And like, at the end of the day, man, it's a game. We're all playing to have fun. If he's your favorite character in the lore, just go for it. Like, I'm almost certainly going to go for Faramir's unique item and push him. He's R9 now. I'm going to take him to R10. I'm going to get his unique item. And even though I just admitted like 5 minutes ago that I think Haldir is a better commander, I think Faramir is a cooler character. And I'll just have more fun and get more joy out of using Faramir than I would Haldir. You know. Dumb question. There's no dumb questions, my friend. Do I think his unique is worth it? I do not. Legolas is unique. Unfortunately not. If you absolutely don't have an Axe of Khazad-dûm, you could consider it. But the problem is, if and when you get that axe, and I clicked the wrong thing, this is the axe you want, and you probably want Cleave on it. Panic could actually be pretty decent for Legolas, and Strip Armor is pretty decent too. But Cleave, I think, is the one you really want for Legolas, if you can get it. The issue with investing into any unique item in this game is you cannot then break it down. So, for example, this gigantic hammer. Let's say I want to use Gil-galad. I get Gil, I get him to R5, I want to use him. I can just crack this thing, break it down, and then boom, this thing is now maxed out. With the unique items, you cannot do that at all. It's not allowed. And so, the Axe of Khazad-dûm with Cleave, I'm pretty sure is going to be better than Legolas's unique. And if you invest in the unique now, you can never get those items back when you get the axe. So for the non-dumb question here, you've been looking at Shagrat. He looks like he could be a good glass cannon. I would have to look at his skills again. And maybe I could pull him up. I don't know if I have the multi-instance thing running though. Maybe I can pull him up on my evil account real quick and see. I feel like is he the one that has like the restrain skill and pursuer or whatever it's called? Let me just pull him up. Hopefully my computer won't cry too much with... Should be fine with 2 BlueStacks and streaming. Should be alright. Another somewhat weird thing about Evil Side is, in my opinion, they don't have nearly as good of like just raw damage dealing commanders as Good Side. Like Good Side has Gimli, Dane, Dwalin, Legolas, T2 Aragorn, T3 Aragorn. Technically Gala. You could probably build Thorin for pure glass cannon too. Although I'd much rather use him as a hybrid and build Dane as pure damage. A Wailed Out Treebeard would probably hit pretty hard. But like for evil, alerts falls off. I actually think Agzok is really underrated for damage. Oh no, now I gotta patch my... I haven't opened my second instance of BlueStacks in a minute. I was trying to do an evil free-to-play account, but I just did not have the time, unfortunately. I mean, thankfully the patching is going pretty quick, but... Gunda is through. They're through the first set O tunnels. Poor Ronaldo. This guy is about to suffer a very sad fate. Let's see, is it patched? Almost. What is up, Max McLaughlin? It's an awesome last name, by the way. McLaughlin. You have gold gear, you're too scared to strengthen. Yes, that is the fundamental problem with the gear system in this game, actually. Chisgul made a very good video about that, and I agree with pretty much everything he said, in that in order to upgrade your gear, you have to sacrifice gear. And the two main issues are when you're a new player, you don't know what you want necessarily. You don't necessarily know what's the best for each commander. You might not even know which commanders you want to heavily invest in the first place. And it makes it more difficult to swap around to different commanders, if that makes sense. Because, like, if we use my guys as an example, I've dumped a bunch into these 2 Horsemen's Helms. These are only going to be good on a few commanders. You know, I can't just put this thing on anybody and have it perform as well as a different piece of equipment, right? Like, if I want to run Faramir, I need a Trapper's Hood, not a Horseman's Helm. If I'm running Arwen, I need most likely not a Horseman's Helm because, you know, she wants focus. She doesn't want to run all mounted units all the time. Although I think she could. So you get like a decision paralysis effect where you don't necessarily know what you want to do. You don't want to sacrifice your items because you don't want to accidentally kill something that will end up being good. And 2, sacrificing stuff just doesn't feel good. You know, it feels bad to, even though you never technically lose an item, because have fun. You stop by to say hi. Yeah, man, thanks for dropping by. It's Lord of the Rings Rise to War. If you like Lord of the Rings and you want to check it out, pretty fun game. Although I'm very biased in that regard. But yeah, like, you get the broken items back, but it still feels pretty bad. So I do think that Chiskel was quite right about that. Agzok's the fact that he requires a good mix of physical and focus. Yeah, I mean, he's not as straightforward. Some other commanders, I can pull him up in a second. You just missed getting into the server with your main, so you're hanging out in Angmar with an alt. Oh, wait, are you on my server, Bovine? You wish you never sacrificed Hammer of Moria. Yeah, like early on this account, I sacrificed a Noldor sword. And I've never seen another one. And now, like, I really wish my Gandalf the White had a Mind Split Noldor. And I was like, yeah, I'm probably not going to use this. And now I'm really wishing I had that instead of a Smite Carver. So, Dark Bovine. Alright, I'll try not to hit your tiles, man. I'm trying not to hit Angmar in general. But I do need to try to improve my economy to some extent before this war truly breaks out. Angmar is pretty hopeless. Yeah, you guys just don't have very many players, unfortunately. Alright, tap to begin my journey on this other one. Let's see if I add... I think I have to do a window capture. We'll name it LOTR Evil. Here we go. And this one. Boom. Skip. This is the evil account that I never play. So I'm gonna throw it in. I'll throw it in Isengard, I guess, or maybe Mordor. I don't want to take up a spot in one of the evil factions that looks more full. Just trying to make Ugthak functional free to play. Ugthak is the fire axe guy, right? If that's true, then you're on a pretty potentially hopeless quest. Why is my webcam still not... There we go. Superseding. Yeah. I wish you could skip this too. It's like, man, I've seen this kill your ring thing so many times. Yeah. So first of all, making most commanders function as free to play is going to be kind of rough. But the big issue is with Ugthak, in my opinion, is since he does burn damage, and that's like the easiest type of damage to mitigate in this game. One of the easiest anyway. Like, everybody and their brother has like a burn resistance halberd that they're sitting on. So many commanders have like high alert. Oh, apparently I got Traveler last season because I didn't actually play. So who was I going to look at? First, I was going to look at... was it Shagrat? Somebody mentioned it. Where did it go? This is what we talk about. Oh yeah, there it is. We're looking at Shagrat. It looks like he could be, did you say a glass cannon? No one seems to be able to give a good reason why he's so bad. And I don't know that he's super terrible. I mean, he has Kirith Ungol, which is good. Corrupting Curse is pretty decent. But like, this whole tree is pretty good. Because, like, within Rage, you just run orcs, and your orcs are madness immune. So you don't care that they're gonna be mad because they're immune to madness. I think with I think you'd have to defend with him and run orcs. I guess Reckless could be decent. Break defenses, topple. So one thing with topple is the damage scaling isn't that great on a skill that has a 2 round of cooldown. 1 point's fine for the chance to stun. I just feel like he's kind of all over the place. Like, he has a stun here. He has a stun here. Heavily wounded damage scaling is really bad too because it's a cooldown of 3 rounds. Laceration, 3 rounds. So like, he has some damage, but then he has troop buffing, and he has more troop buffing. And he wants to run orcs, but then he also wants to run Urukai. So both of the abilities on the top R0, top on bottom R0 have massive damage. I mean, this only goes to 350% on one target. The issue with Heavily Wounded is the cooldown. This is only going to go off 2 times per combat, which is going to be 490% damage times 2, which isn't very much. So like, here, we can do some quick maths, right? So this is 350%, and it's going to go off 3 times per combat. It's going to go off on round 3, round 6, and round 9. So if we pull up the calculator, that's 1050% total damage from topple. And then we said it's going to be 490 times 2 is 980 plus 1050. So both of those skills combined are going to be 2030% damage. If we compare that to, let me go back to my other account. For example, let me just look at them in here. Like Aragorn, I think would be a fair example. If we look at Andoril, this is going to be 20% per point times 15 points. It's 300% damage, but it hits 2 targets, so that's 600% damage, and then it goes off 3 times per combat. Just Andoril alone is 1800% damage, whereas Shagrat's 2 skills combined were what, like 2050 damage or whatever. So Y 3, 6, and 9 doesn't activate on round 2. So that is a very common misconception in this game because the tooltips are funky. When it says round 2, this means it has a cooldown of 2 rounds, and skills start combat on cooldown. So for Anduril, as an example, this would be on cooldown for round 1, on cooldown for round 2. Now round 3, it's off cooldown, and Aragorn will use it. Then round 4, it's on cooldown, 5 is on cooldown, then boom, he uses it again. Can't see my fingers on round 6. But for example, just to show you, the combat reports in this game are actually quite good. So if we go to round 3, we will see Gandalf the White activating Surge at some point. Gandalf the White activates Surge, bang bang. Then we go to round 6. And we have Gandalf the White activating Surge again. No, it would still go off 3 times because combat can only last for a maximum of 10 rounds. So if it's a cooldown of 2, it goes off on round 3, round 6, if I can do my fingers, and then round 9. It should just be 10 rounds. It's like if we look at this draw, that's what a draw means. It's just that it hit the 10 rounds maximum. Unless they changed it since I looked at combat logs. Yeah, so here's round 10, and then battle ends. So that's all good, man. All good. That's why we're here helping out. That's why I started making content for this game, was just to, try and help people learn. And man, it's kind of a cliche to say, but I've learned a lot just from other people through making content. Because, I'll say something in a video, or I'll need to look something up and talk to people. Somebody will come in and be like on my ring or my faction video, new faction bonuses, I thought they were all at ring level 30, but then somebody commented on my video and was like, oh, it depends on which faction it is. Some of those show up at ring level 10 or whatever. So I learned a lot too. Evil has been scammed somewhat. Good accessory for Legolas, Hithlane with Mend. Yeah, that's probably what I would use to... we can take a look at all the options. As far as purples go, that has to be the best one, I would think. Yeah. You could potentially run Pursuit Fireworks, especially if you're going to run Protect Elves and you're going to combine Guardians with Sentinels. I think having Pursuit Fireworks could be useful. Otherwise, it would definitely be the Hithlane. As far as if we're talking about gold items, I think this could be decent. So if you get like Gift of Nature on the Ent Drought, mostly because you can get this to plus 6 HP. I think that could be very solid. Box of Knowledge for Warrior, I think would be pretty decent, but only if you can refine it, which can be very difficult to do. But a 60% chance for each round to increase your damage dealt and or ignore defense, I think is quite solid as well. This has less army HP than the Ent Drought, and slightly less might, but the effect on it is very solid. Other than that, it's probably one of those two. This just has focus on it. Yeah, I don't think you'd want any of those traits on it as well. Don't think the belt has anything for you. I mean, Iron Guard on the belt might be alright. Ouroboros Pride? Can you even use that now? If you could use Ouroboros Pride, that would be good too. But yeah, I would say Ant Drought with the stats, just to get your might up a bit more, or Box. Keep in mind with the Box, oh yeah, Legolas can't use Wizard's Fireworks because he's an elf. You're right, scratch the fireworks. See, this is what I'm talking about, though. Even I learn a lot when making content and streaming and stuff. Keep in mind with the boxes, the Lore of the Arcane has to match your commander's trait. So, like if you put Lore of the Arcane Warrior on Gandalf the Grey, this effect cannot go off. You'll get the stats, but Gandalf the Grey would need Lore of the Arcane support. Just like Aragorn would need Lore of the Arcane balance. I think if you're just wailing like crazy on Legolas, Lore of the Arcane Warrior is probably what I would pick. If I could pick just absolutely anything at all. So, oh, you have one and it's for the Warrior. Yeah, I mean that could work out. The real important thing with the box is you have to be able to refine it. And that's the tough part with gold items in general. I guess I'm just going to sweep some level 20s. It's almost 11 o'clock here. So Faramir, you can actually come home too. I guess I'll keep that 60 overnight. Hobbit Fiddle with Heroism. Let me check. Might be. Oh wait, you mean this Hobbit Fiddle? Or the other one? You must mean the other one. The gold one. Commander damage. Yeah, that could work. Refining it would be tough too. I think the chance to ignore armor, I don't know, what's better? It's just going to depend on what you're hitting. Ignoring armor on the right targets is going to increase your damage by a lot. But a flat 18% damage is pretty good too. I don't think it's bad by any means. The big advantage of the box and the Ant Drought is the extra HP. I mean, this is going to go up to +6, potentially, if you max strengthen it. And 6 extra HP across 7,500 Guardians is, like, what, 50,000 extra HP? Something like that. Tell your stream to get to work. Get to work in what regard? I think we were also going to talk about Agzok. The reason I think he has potential is he just has so many damage skills. Like, you could take this guy to R25 and still be taking damage skills. Like, the Pursuer Tree is solid. Not bad at all. Shadow of the Mist is pretty good as well. Weapons Expertise is fine. Laceration's alright. And then ranged units in the current metagame are super popular for good and evil factions, right? People are running ranged Gandalf the Grey, they're running Gills, they're running Sunins, they're running Haldirs, some people run Faramirs. And so, I mean, he just dunks on ranged units too. And even if you don't want to fight ranged, you could do Black Numenorian, but it's a pretty terrible skill tree. You'd probably do 2-1 just for the anti-heal on like any build. But in general, I think he has 3 really solid trees. Kind of the risk is if he, runs headfirst into Galadriel or something that's running monostack Guardians. But overall, I think he has more potential than Lurtz, to be honest. But I don't know. Is HP better than defense? And the easy answer is usually. On mounted units, I tend to prefer defense because, we can just go here. So for example, a Cataphract has 61 base defense. This is like the tankiest normal cavalry unit that there is. And a Guard of the Tower has 78. A Guardian has 101. And defense in this game does have some level of diminishing returns. So if you take a Guardian from 101 to 150 defense, you're going to get less of a benefit from that than taking a Cataphract from 61 defense to 111 or whatever it is, the plus 50. And then the second thing to consider is how many troops you have per command. So if we use the same example, Guardians are 100 units per command. So if you increase HP by 6, that's 600 extra HP per point of command. Whereas Cataphracts are only 50 units per command. 50 times 6 would be only 300 extra HP per command. So on Legolas specifically, you'll probably be running mostly Guardians. Because of that, I would consider HP a better stat for him. But for somebody like Theoden or Eowyn, who's going to be running full cavalry, then I would go with HP. Sorry, I would go with defense rather than HP. Level 25. How close is Arwen? She's getting there. She's getting there. Eowyn. Man, I should have had like a level 48 by now. Relocated. My wife has arrived. We're neighbors again. Need to send her kissy face. But huge shout out to her as always. Whenever I'm streaming, she goes and I don't want to say locks herself in the bedroom. She doesn't lock herself in the bedroom. She can come out. Should say she exiles herself to the bedroom. That way she won't be in the room, one room over, watching TV and have TV coming through the background. Anything like that. I was going to check the market one more time. I think I do go ahead and trade the wood for food. And really what I need to do is I need to trade stone for ore to about that level. And I think tomorrow we'll need dunes. I think soon I'm going to need sharpshooters, and having more tanky units is always pretty solid. Although overnight, how much could I conscript in terms of cavalry? Conscripting cav overnight might be the better play. 5 hours, so if we do like 8 something, that's close enough. 821, 841. Yeah, I'll do cav overnight, and then I can do the infantry during the day tomorrow. Somebody tagged me. Okay. True, true, true. Gearing up for war, man. It's going to be real tomorrow, I think. Somewhat of a shame that it didn't super break out tonight, but I think tomorrow in this area, either these tunnels or these tunnels, we're going to have a pretty beefy battle marker. What did this one hit? This one hit almost 1 million deaths with 3.6 million participants. I'm not sure who won though. Well, maybe nobody really. Seems like more of a stalemate than anything. Yeah, Loth is there. Varyogs is there. So I would say Loth hasn't advanced into Undeeps, but Varyogs hasn't really advanced out of Undeeps either. And we have a Loth fort sitting here and Loth tiles there, and the keep is right there. So that seems like it's been a pretty epic battle down there. I do think, yeah, Varyogs did get kicked out of Celebrant. So that's good for Loth. But they're also going to have to worry about Erebor and Gunda coming in to this area, which is potentially problematic for them, obviously. But I think on that note, I'm going to call it a night because it's almost 11 o'clock here. And I have an 18-month-old daughter. And in the morning, she's not going to care if Daddy went to bed late. She's going to want to wake up and run around and climb all over me. Plus, stamina is pretty much burned anyway. But got some farm in, got some sweeping in, got my relocation in, getting my forts up. So hopefully I'll be as prepared as I can be tomorrow. Exoc bleeds units like Chris. Yeah, that's the big issue with like glass cannons in general. I mean, even with like Dwalin, Dane, Legolas, Gimli, like they're kind of like nukes. It's just mutually assured destruction. Like you're gonna take a lot with you, but you're gonna lose a lot as well. So, oh, you're good, Bovine. You're good, man. But definitely appreciate all of you guys coming and hanging out. If you want to ask more questions laced up, I do have a Discord. There's a lot of experienced players on there, and you can pop into the general channels and ask whatever you want. And usually people are around to help out. So otherwise, I'll either stream this or Rise of Kingdoms on Friday. Don't know yet, but I should be streaming again this Friday. And have a good night, guys.